Hello, everyone. Man, we got a crazy fun episode in store. It is episode 81. 81 of the
Wow.
Collectin and I know, dude. Collectin and Connectin podcast. I'm KingBrett. I'm going to go through our hosts really quickly because I can't wait to introduce our special guest. We have Sir Treaticus. How are you out there?
Doing well. Happy to be here.
You staying warm? I see the breath blowing.
I'm good. My heart keeps me warm.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Tork, how's the weather in Austin, man? You doing all right?
It's beautiful. And you know what keeps me warm at night? Chris Treaticus' hatred of me and the Dallas Mavericks. That's what keeps me warm at night. I appreciate that. Man, best day of my life, guys. I woke up.
Hey, enjoy that Western Conference championship, boys. Congratulations.
Oh my gosh. Our special guest, let's just get into it. Man, we are so pumped to have you. The man, the myth, the Dapper Labs legend, Roham. How are you, man? Thank you for being here. Oh, you're muted.
You mute.
Click the unmute button.
There we go.
Hey, man, I swear I work for a tech company. Good to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Oh, man. No, the pleasure's all ours. I'm so pumped. I'm just going to imagine you're somewhere magical in the world right now. So you're probably like hanging out with Santa in the North Pole. I don't know. Happy holidays, happy Christmas, happy early New Year's, everyone watching out there. We're super pumped to have you. So let's get into it, man. Let's talk a little bit about NBATopShot. There's a lot of fun stuff going on right now. There's new sets, there's new art, there's new drops. Next year is already so exciting with what you've kind of laid out. But we have some just fun questions that we like starting with, talking about moments, because we originally started doing a show called Moment by Moment, going through all the moments and breaking down moments and talking about our favorite stuff. And I know you've been asked probably a billion times, what's your favorite moment or to collect or to gift? But what I want to know is what's one moment that you don't have right now that you want? What's one moment on your list for TopShot, Secret Santa, or someone out there? So let's start with that.
That's a really good question. I don't know if I have one moment. I got to go every time in the off season. I try to go complete as many sets as I can. And so whenever I get some time, maybe in the next couple of days, that's what I'm going to do. Just go through, do some general shopping, but there's been so many. I got a couple of the big ones that I wanted right after they dropped, and I guess I gotta go double check. I don't know if I have. I don't have the latest Wemby, but I know I don't have any of the rookie class from this year. So definitely that's those are on my list. And I've got my rookie debut here.
That's nice.
My rookie debut on the Collecting and Connecting podcast. So
nice.
That's
good
right.
Swag. It's good swag.
Rookie was one of our favorite things when y'all kind of revamped that and started bringing the rookie debut, and that kind of exploded again, especially with Wemby coming in. That was like a crazy big, and it's just kind of built freshman gyms. It's like everything's just. It's what the collectors really love is all the new guys coming in and coming into the team and the league and just so.
Yeah, I think we've got a really good system with how we introduce rookies, the trade-ins at each stage, the challenges. It all kind of like locks in together really well. And of course, each rookie class has its own kind of dynamics, and we're just seeing folks from last year's like Wemby is just an absolute machine.
Yeah.
But that's the fun of it, and it's fun of tracking these players and seeing their careers evolve and making sure that initial rookie kind of year and rookie debuts stay as compared to physical. Think about the scarcity difference between the rookies that are now introduced in TopShot versus what you see in cardboard. So that's really what we're trying to create, kind of a gold standard in collectability there.
Nice. It's a good call.
I love that.
Tork's all about the rooks. He does some deep dives into these rookies.
The genesis of that is following college basketball and just being a college basketball nerd. But I love following guys that are from my area of the Dallas-Fort Worth, part of Texas. And so stacking Ron Hollins this year was been very beneficial. You mentioned the trade-in part of it. I stacked a bunch of Ron Hollins early, played the leaderboard game, and pulled my first ever #1 cereal boys.
What?
Oh, that's right, man.
I was very, very happy with that. So
when did you pull that?
That was about 3 days ago. Right after the leaderboard. That was because the top 50 leaderboards now, obviously you get a chance at a special cereal. And I figured, well, I'm going to want his gym anyway. Might as well roll the dice. And it turned out pretty well. Said never pulled a number one cereal. It was the pack opening experience this year is amazing. Like the pack, the graphics, the music, it all, if you haven't done it on the app or on mobile, I highly recommend it for those out there listening and watching. But yeah, very stoked on that. Are there any rookies in particular that you're looking at this year? Kind of interested to drill down on your fandom, like favorite teams, favorite players, anybody you're stacking right now?
Well, I was going to ask you actually, as a college guy, where were you on the Scoot versus Wemby debate before the draft?
I mean, it was hard to quantify what Wemby was going to be because, you see some of these guys come from overseas and it takes them a year or two. But Wemby just right off the bat, I mean, you could see in game one, of course, it was against my Mavericks. And, I mean, you saw the flashes early on where, I mean, he's just otherworldly. I kind of felt like Scoot was a little bit more of the roll of the dice as well. I don't know if he's got some Zion quality to him in that regard, where maybe it's an off the court issue with a lack of work ethic. I mean, but because the physical and natural talent's right there. But I don't know. But I love Scoot as a player. But definitely came out a little bit more Wemby on that one.
Makes sense. As for my fandom, man, I'm trying to. I like it when there's more moments, when it's tougher series, when it's longer series. When there's just competition. That's my that's what I like seeing. So, but I like it when the Lakers are good. I like it when the Warriors are good. I lived in the Bay Area for 10 years and spent a lot of time in LA. So that's the closest I get to that stuff. So sorry to see my Lakers lose and. But excited for the game. I guess tomorrow, day after tomorrow, the Warriors Lakers.
Yep.
Yeah. It's okay. We all have the wins and losses. The Mavs last year, this year, we'll win the championship. It's just ebbs and flows. No big deal.
Always fun to watch Giannis play, though. We were at the Vegas tournament with a bunch of collectors, and it's just always fun to watch certain players play.
So you got to meet a few collectors. I know I've seen a photo of you meeting a member of our community, Chewy Wolf. I think Colton as well. What's the first question that collectors love to ask you when you meet them?
I think it's actually very different for most people. People ask me all the time about obviously rewards and things. People ask me almost every time I meet any group of collectors. Someone asks me what my favorite moment is, and favorite team, all that stuff. But I think people just want clarity, man. They want to know, on these debates that are happening between kind of the gamification versus the collectability. Where do we sort of stand? People want to know, at the time when we sat down for dinner after the game and just had a chance to talk. We hadn't published any of the that sort of big season recap and sort of look forward. So a lot of questions around set locking. Does that matter? Do we think that collectability in that sense is important? Leaderboard rewards, like how we see team and player leaderboards sort of like stacking up in the future. And generally, sometimes priority between NBA, NFL, Disney, this kind of thing. So everyone's got a different side to it, but I think that the key thing that I like is that everyone's just so freaking passionate, and a lot of our best ideas come from the community. But my motivation comes from the community because I love building products for people that either love it or hate it. But love and hate are closer together than indifference. So. So I listen to all the haters too, and read the tweets and try to filter out the and then try to get at the kind of the core of it. So Well, we spent over 3 hours at dinner. Actually, I looked at my watch. I looked at my phone. I thought I'd been an hour or whatnot, and I had something to get to afterwards. We completely blew over. So we spent over 3 hours.
Well, time flies when you're having fun. That's for sure.
Talking TopShot.
That's right. And I will say one of the things I've loved over the last couple of years of being involved in TopShot is the clarity and the roadmap that y'all are laying out. It addresses so many things, and it sets a really good picture of what to expect, what to not expect, in kind of each section, each season as we move forward. So as someone who has 41 sets locked, I was a big proponent of some set rewards, lock set rewards, and just all sorts of the team stuff. A big Mavs fan, so obviously team leaderboard. So really love kind of the direction that we're starting to move, and kind of it's exciting for sure.
Yeah, and in a lot of ways, I mean, there's nothing like a lot of this had been part of the original, plans and wishes we all had for Top Shot around just really bringing that collectability close to the fan and sort of having these loops that sort of make sense. And so there's nothing to it but to do it, and we're excited to do it and make sure that the way we're releasing content also makes sense, so that the most collectible stuff is going to the collectors, and the gaming elements are actually accretive to the collectible economy, because they're bringing new eyeballs, bringing more users, giving more utility and more gameplay without sort of sucking away any economic value. And happy to unpack all of that stuff. But I would say we haven't nailed the balance always, because products like this, you don't necessarily have a playbook to team. We don't have a playbook to copy, right? And so it's a little bit of experimentation in terms of what's too much, what's too little. And there's viewpoints across the spectrum, right? Folks that are like, hey, do more of this, because I hate that, stop doing that. It's like, oh, you did amazing on this. No, that was the worst thing ever. So it's sort of, trying to read between opinions and also read the data. And we don't get it right most of the time, but I think we're starting to get a handle on what we got to do. We just got to get out there and do it.
And you, Tork, you're big into the NFT space, and I'm not. Top Shot's all I do, but that's another weird part of this, right? Like, there's this whole other new thing, and it ebbs and flows. I mean, it feels like the Wild West, right? And everything gets connected with meme coins, NFT. There's all this talk about this space, which I don't even know what that means. This space. It's like Top Shot a lot of times seems like the most stable, real product, right, in this other weird world. And sometimes I get frustrated with being connected to that, if that makes sense, right? Even the stuff on my Twitter X feed. I'm like, I don't know what world this is. I like this piece of it. But that's a whole nother thing you've got to live in, right? With the flow ecosystem and all of that. I mean, that's another thing to navigate.
I mean, it is, and also it also creates expectations for people of like, hey, these are, I would say in 2021, a lot of the capital that flew into Top Shot was treating it just like any other NFT, rather than, and so you saw, price of all players moving up rather than the best players moving up, or like, a less of a focus on sort of collectability, the way a sports collector will look at it, such as around rookies and this kind of thing. So I think we are more isolated from that today. At the same time, it's a huge amount of capital, and that liquidity is, I think, important for collectors. So I think what we're trying to do right now in terms of the technology approach is, how do we have our cake and eat it too, and sort of have this sports collector centric marketplace that speaks exclusively to the fan and to the real collector, and then have anyone with today, you don't even have to. It's sort of open to everyone. You can go connect your Flow wallet and then be able to take your moments outside of the Top Shot marketplace and interact with the more sort of crypto native elements. And whether that's, putting it on Floaty and getting a loan out, whether it's taking it over to the EVM side and getting other forms of liquidity. You can imagine liquidity pools in the future such that, the kind of cheaper moments, you can just dump them in and get dollars out without having to actually list individually and wait for them to sell. So how do you get that kind of the features of crypto to give value to the fan? And because to the fan, they would just think of it as like, oh, I'm trading in for cash. Right. It's effectively a pool that can kind of like buy back your moments at whatever price. You might imagine having multiple ones and having like a Grail index where it's not, so the crypto people don't come and buy individual moments. They just buy a Grail token and get, access to underlying moments. And the higher that price goes, then real collectors can come in and trade in their moments at whatever price they want to. So like, how do we get kind of the efficiencies of crypto as a sort of financial infrastructure without bringing in that kind of like wild volatility or sort of maybe very speculative flipper mentality,
right,
into the product. But I think, in terms of crypto moves in cycles, and we're I think about to enter a pretty exciting cycle where you'll see a lot more interest and adoption of digital assets in general. I think that's what happens every cycle, and in a lot of ways, this cycle is being led also internationally, and so that's a big question of like, how does Top Shot deal with an international audience? Right now, there's no localization,
right.
Whatever it might be. But we're trying to, we got to sort of skate to where the puck is going to make sports analogies and build a product that is we have a multi-billion-dollar comp, which is physical trading cards. This thing's got to be more fun because it is digital. We have the ability to connect the dots. That feeling of ripping a pack should feel better than ripping a cardboard pack, and being able to share what you have and all that stuff. So
it feels like that international piece, right? Especially for the NBA, because it's such an international product. I mean,
100%.
I can't think of anything else that's got more of an international following. So that unlocking that one, and how the different governments of the world and even cultures, right? Even the assumptions people have around digital stuff. I mean, I've got friends here in my part of the world that just think it's the worst thing that could happen, right? Because they can't touch it and or feel the cash, right? So I can't imagine what that must be like across the globe, trying to educate. And
well, I actually think it's the opposite, where digital assets and NFTs in particular. Well, digital assets, if you remember, you guys were around when early sort of mobile games started in the US. The concept of like free to play digital assets, spending on virtual items, took a while to catch up, whereas in Asia it sort of went crazy initially. I remember seeing pitch decks from back in 2010, 2011, where American companies were trying to raise seed rounds, Series A rounds, pointing at tens of $billions of trading volume in virtual assets, saying, hey, this thing's going to happen here too, because that community is just much more in a sense digital native when it comes to digital ownership, when it comes to metaverse, that kind of thing. So even today, you go to any Asian crypto conference, the folks in the audience aren't crypto people. They're all the big companies. All the big companies are doing their own blockchains. They're running their own networks. So all the social media companies have their own sort of creator platforms. People can come mint NFTs and mint tokens, things like that. So I think that's the environment that exists in that sort of sense. And so I 100% agree. It's a huge opportunity for Top Shot. The NBA is a third international players. It's not even, yes, it's a huge international audience, but there's like, it's pretty much a global league at this point.
Right.
And we gotta take advantage of that.
And one thing, and I think I recall from your conversation with the commissioner when you were in Vegas, awesome conversation, by the way, is that he mentioned that you can only scale arenas so much. 100%. And so how do you scale the game and scale the audience from there on? And I think Top Shot is uniquely positioned to do that. Yeah. And you guys seem like you're working towards that. Are there things in the works that you feel are positioning y'all very well for the license renewal, for example, coming up here in a couple of years?
Well, the license renewal with the license we've got until the end of the decade, and so and so I'm not concerned about that piece of it. But in terms of, I just want to tell a quick story, and I think this kind of illustrates the point that you guys made around sort of like digital ownership. I was at the Disney D23 fan conference, which is their biggest fan conference, and I was standing in front of the booth. In the beginning of the weekend, people would come to the stand in line, get to the front, and say, "Oh, it's digital." So like I didn't want the digital. By the end of the booth, one of the people that said that was his reaction was showing me his completed sets on the phone and telling me how he had completed the one last night by trading with some dude when he was sitting in the bathroom. And like that had kind of clicked for him. It's like, hey, digital is this always on 24/7 global experience. Like the guy was in Australia or something. It's sort of this. It clicked, and then he was scrolling through his completed sets, saying, "My wife's so much happier because I'm not carrying on bags of." And it's like that we had to kind of go and have that like negative experience in order to get to sort of that positive response. And I think, whether it's like trade shows, whether it's live games, et cetera, I want us to have more of a sort of hands-on presence with collectors. Also enable collectors to go and do that. And you might have seen a bunch of reports and tweets that you guys might be involved in the program already in terms of us enabling collectors to sort of go out there, organize their own events, like a 2.0 of the whole team captains sort of program, and be able to have us sort of finance and push it, but have it be from the sort of ground up and authentic. So we're kind of focused a lot on, to be frank, like most of the short-term things you'll see will either be in product in terms of like making that sort of collecting experience, purchasing, ripping packs. You talk about pack ripping. I love the pack ripping experience. It's so critical to the product. But as of 30 days ago, it's actually quite buggy. And so like we can't have consistency issues. We can't have when it comes to sort of those important parts of the product, they've got to be pristine. And so we're focused a lot on that. And then a lot of our in-person stuff will be North America focused because we want to really be authentic around the fan communities. But the next step after that is about realizing, hey, a lot of these fan communities aren't in their geolocation, and to be what Adam Silver said, hey, the arenas are already full, and we can't stuff more people in there. What we have to do is figure out how to extend that sort of fan experience. And so, I don't think we have anything in the immediate pipeline for things like localization, et cetera. But what we're trying to open up is also the ability for Top Shots to kind of be merchandised on other marketplaces. So imagine if you have a local marketplace in Asia or Latin America, et cetera, like a Amazon equivalent, eBay equivalent, Zalando, so on and so forth, people should be able to go in there, buy a Top Shot pack, get a QR code in the mail, and in the email, scan it, download the app, rip the pack, so on and so forth. So how do you create these kind of like channels into the product that once you're in, the product's actually converting reasonably well. People that are coming from NBA ID, et cetera, we're sort of getting better and better at sort of capturing them, giving them a good first-time experience, and then guiding them to say, hey, this is the next drop, or this is the first set you can complete, whatever it might be. So we're trying to really focus on the product experience. But in terms of international, probably work with partners who have the audience. I mentioned all these blockchains, all these big social networks have their own blockchains. Because Flow is now EVM equivalent, there was already Top Shots in MetaMask wallets. And so once the Layer 0 and Axelar, et cetera, are live on Flow, I think you can see that it's been publicly deployed to mainnet. It just hasn't sort of been the front ends aren't live yet. People can take their NFTs from Flow to any marketplace or any blockchain, and so be able to put it on other marketplaces and use it in other experiences. So I think as long as that's seamless to the collector, that should mean a potential influx of different kinds of users into the network. Now that's not what we're laser focused on. We're laser focused on the North American sports fan, and then also the other sports fans from other areas that are trying to like tap into that same kind of like dynamic. That's why we're doing like the RSVP drops after a main drop, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the short version. And I think but it's so early that it's huge opportunity outside the US for sure.
I know everyone else has stuff to say, but I'm like the emotional one of us all. That's freaking awesome. Like just the thought of like someone just being on Amazon or being on any of those and just buying a pack and then getting an email and being able to download it, or like that's insane. That's awesome. And why not? Right?
But why not?
Yeah, exactly. Getting it to people where people are, because what I found at least is anyone that I've shown Top Shot, that I've shown the app, that I've gone through, and I've been showing everyone, I've never won a legendary or anything in any pack. And literally I had some family issues and I was feeling down and I had some packs in my account. I was ripping it and I opened a Fresh Threads pack of all. and I pulled a legendary Chris Paul, and I'm just like, what? And it's like midnight, and I'm yelling in my house. And my wife wakes up. She's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I'm like, I did it. She's like, what'd you do? And I'm like, I don't know. I ripped a pack, and it's the best pack ever. And I was just so excited. But just the fact that like someone could do that via Amazon, via any of those other sites at some point. And I think all Top Shot collectors love knowing you're focusing on honing drops and the core values and the core issues. But the fact that that's out there, that's a possibility, like those are things that make me as a collector excited about continuing to collect and being a part of it from such an early spot that I am. It's just to see all these exciting things come to fruition at some point. So that's exciting. Now y'all can talk. I just want to say
that's a good
word. Y'all have eloquent things to say, but
woo, love it.
Let's go.
No, I think it's easy to your point. Like if we're involved in the day-to-day on Top Shot, so we're involved in the minutia of that particular project. But if you zoom out and look at what he's doing, I mean, like you're with Dapper Labs in general. Yeah. I had a whole bunch of questions I wanted to ask, and then you made a post about, and I didn't realize the legislation had passed. Curious to know how much of a role Dapper Labs played, and what was it? Is it the New Frontiers in Technology Act, NFT Act, if you will, and how that came to be or be introduced at that point?
What do you think? Who would have pushed for it to get named?
Yeah, we would have done that.
Look, Dapper has gone through a few different sort of iterations of how involved we are at the government level. At one point we had 11 in-house lawyers, multiple government relations people. It was a big operation, but then we realized it's much better to be focused and be, so we have a chief legal officer. He is now the main person that, these folks even call on to sort of tell them, hey, what's the difference between NFTs, fungible tokens, et cetera, et cetera? How do you deal with these kinds of NFTs? What's the, and the main thing we've really been pushing on that sort of we've taken on as our, kind of main banner to bear is this concept of consumer NFTs. So the stuff that's meant for real world people, real world use cases, whether you're digital art, whether in-game items, whether sports collectibles, or really any kind of digital collectible, we got to make sure it's carved out of these massive sort of legislation or approaches people are taking towards cryptocurrencies and DeFi and all that stuff, whether it's at a KYC level. It doesn't make sense. You have to upload your passport if you're going to buy a trading card. That makes no sense. Whether it's at the sort of the financial regulation level, or whether it's at the taxation or kind of securities level. So that's sort of our mission, is just making sure that NFTs as a category for everybody remain this thing that is open for people to experiment with and build on, whether they're independent artists and creators or whether it's huge companies that have the resources to hire tons of lawyers and big firms. And then for consumers to be like, well, why would regulation mean I have less options? I should be able to decide, hey, if I want to buy something in a game that doesn't let me sell it versus I want to buy something that does let me sell it. And the main sort of purpose of regulation should be transparency, open, making sure that there's no fraud and sort of just the normal stuff, right? Like normal consumer protections is, I think, the most important thing here, rather than saying, hey, well, the U.S. can't have this, but internationally they can have it. And I mean, I feel the same way around a lot of the DeFi things as well. But anything that touches kind of money is going to be more complicated. So we're sort of like pulling out and saying, hey, all of this stuff, at least kind of put it in a special bubble and say and make it clear that as long as there's certain protections in place, that these are definitely not securities, that these are definitely not sort of financial instruments. So that we've been pushing that in the US, we've been pushing that in the EU. The EU actually this week also published a report where it's dense reading, and I didn't see that many press articles about it, but same concept. They sort of very clearly said, hey, this category of stuff are not securities. And it might seem like something small, but we literally went through a multi-year lawsuit around this sort of issue, and it makes everything much harder. It makes from internal operations around, keeping track of everything we say and making sure there's sort of we're sort of checking every box every time to our partners sort of being more reticent to do kind of growth campaigns and big sort of integrations if there's sort of this overhang of hey, we know it's not a problem, but we just got to wait until it gets all sorted out. And I think, so it is very meaningful, even for a company like ours, which is a bigger company. But I think it's most meaningful for independent builders and consumers. Now, that's not to say that a lot of bad stuff doesn't go on in the NFT space, just like it does in every sort of emerging market with a lot of dollars in it. And so everyone's got to do their own research. And there is this sort of, I do think that consumer protections around transparency and around sort of just preventing fraud, where someone with an anonymous identity can come create something, make random promises, and it applies to meme coins as well. I think that is important, but let's not mix that up with, sports cards or video games or whatever it might be.
So has the response been good from people that? I guess I'm assuming you're trying to explain this thing to elected officials who aren't always that smart. I speak,
Mr. Mayor.
They're smart in different ways.
Yeah, exactly. But like people that may not have any exposure to this space, and you're trying to explain, hey, this is different. How is that been well received? Is that making sense to them?
I think it actually is. So we first started engaging with lawmakers and regulators all the way back in 2017 with CryptoKitties, and primarily in Canada. And so we had to explain things like, what is a smart contract? What does ownership mean? What is a blockchain account? What is a fungible token, non-fungible token? And so obviously, even back then, though, people were open to understanding it. And the concept of a non-fungible token actually makes a lot more sense to a sort of non-crypto person than, hey, these are cryptocurrencies that have value because other people want them. Well, why would other people want them? Versus, hey, this is digital trading card, and that's just what it is. And people want it because it's a one-on-one, or people want it because it's a rookie, or people want it because it's just or for example, skin trading in video games and other things create a lot of kind of parallels. When we started CryptoKitties, Valve and Steam, all that stuff wasn't yet. People were trading Counter-Strike skins, but they were doing it illegally. So they were doing it kind of off market. Whereas now there's a full trading market. Now there's a full there's actually centralized, but there is liquidity. And so the concept of digital asset trading has become very sort of naturalized for most people. But I will say that I think our elected officials are actually getting smarter and smarter on crypto, probably because they know that crypto voters are sort of single issue voters. But this election in the United States, you basically, the biggest party is now the crypto party, because across both the Democrats and Republicans, we had so many crypto friendly folks elected to Congress, both in the Senate and House of Representatives. And I think those folks come with a lot more awareness and look, they're either against it or they're for it, and they don't necessarily all have the same reasons for being against it or for it. But we have a lot more folks that are for it now, and sort of understand that the innovation is going to happen whether you want it or not. The question is, do you want to have it to happen in the United States and be accessible to Americans, or do you want it to happen elsewhere and for the U.S. to be, for the first time in any technology shift, behind the curve, right? Like that's not a normal thing for America or Americans for American businesses, right? To realize, hey, we can't explore this opportunity because we're here. That's a tough. Doesn't feel very American to me.
So what I hear is crypto is going to save America. So, anyways, moving on. Tork, what?
No, I was just going to say that absolutely. I mean, that's obviously why the legislation is being introduced is massively important. And for people who want to use the parlance of our times, talk about their bags and whatever this, I mean, this gentleman is working very hard for your bags. You just don't even know it. I mean, like doing the real shit, behind the scenes for lack of better terminology. So just wanted to highlight that part of it. So I want to go back to the Santa Claus aspect of things. Roham, what do you want Santa to bring you this year?
That's a good question. I don't know if I've thought about it.
Any moments?
The man that has everything.
He doesn't need a beard shade because it looks beautiful, folks. In fact, all of our beards are looking quite dapper today.
Well played.
except for yours.
Wisdom is stored in the beard. So
that's right.
Yes, I like that.
I think I heard you guys say that on one of your the podcast where Colton shaved his beard, right?
Yeah. Poor Colton. Poor Colton.
It's all good. I would say if Santa could bring me anything, maybe.
I know he wanted to be here. Same Banana Mac too. I know they're all like, "Oh my gosh, let's go!" We're like, "No, next time, maybe if we're lucky." So,
but I thought of a wish though. I want Santa to bring me 1 million happy collectors.
Oh! I want Santa to bring you 1 million happy collectors. Let's go.
I like I like collectors there. You know, I think my problem now is that I don't want to sell anything. You know, like literally.
Yeah. It's called lock.
Everything's everything I want to keep is locked forever, and so that's that. I know this is a topic that comes up a lot. Is the ability to show off your collection, right? Like a way that's not difficult for folks to be able to just say, "Hey, let me show you my top shot collection that I'm real proud of." That seems to always be a topic.
Yep. I mean, I'd love to maybe get you guys to riff a little bit on what you like to see there, because it's very much going to be an area of investment for us, and we're going to first start by just like cleaning up. Right now, we have 4 or 5 tools in the product that are trying to do that in various not good enough sort of ways, right? You got the profile itself where you can't even move your stuff around, you can't rearrange it. You've got the pin moments, which is 3 up the top of the profile. You've got the groups, which they're sort of there, but you can't even share them. And then there's and I have some ideas there. There's showcases, which we haven't touched in a while. There's playlists, which we create, but why not let you guys create playlists and then be able to sort of share things that users can flip through?
Yeah.
And then my favorite, which I haven't seen many people use, and I don't know, I hope it's still enabled in the product, is that you can download the actual moment video directly yourself. And you'll put it on TikTok, add your own sort of like things around it, commentaries.
Well, so I made one of the maybe my favorite thing I've made in the creative kind of piece, besides Tap That App, is I created this. I downloaded the moments and I made these videos with a picture of the digital ticket from the game, right? So that year, every game I attended, and I created this slideshow, this video that I can plug into my TV, and it just replays it over and over. So I don't know but I would love to have everybody at my house or even at the office to just be able to have my moments, maybe my top 10. I'd say my Bird, my McHale, my Parrish.
Your Luka.
So no, none of my Lukas. Some championship, my Al Horford championship Lego. To display on just in the background at my office in the mayor's. How cool would it be in the mayor's office when French Hill rose in on his way to D.C. to pass some good crypto legislation? Goes, hey, what's this on your TV, Mayor? Well, these are my Top Shot moments. I'm a big fan. So when I was creating stuff, I was putting it on a thumb drive and sticking it in my TV to just make people jealous.
I love that. It keeps coming up too. People want a way to just like put it on their home screen. I mean, you could do it through like editing manually, but why not just like let you kind of quickly, hey, what do you want? Instagram, home screen, TV, whatever it is, and then get the file and then kind of do what you want with it. I think that should be pretty straightforward, actually.
And you already know people complain a lot, and we're all lazy. So like, if it's hard, I'm just being honest, most people aren't going to do it, right? It's like even doing your wallets and setting stuff up. When it's hard, people are like, oh, it's too hard, even if it's not. So simplicity, I think, is the key. But yeah, I was still trying to get an infinite object just because I wanted to have something on my desk that would play. So I love that. And I think collectors love that because we all want to show off our collections. We all talk crap about our collections to each other and our friends. To be able to see it, it's kind of like the explaining crypto to like the European, right? They're more ahead of tech a lot of times than we are, so they get it. When someone hears about Top Shot, they're like, okay, but when they see it, they're like, makes total sense. I get that because of the things that you touched on earlier, right? Physical trading cards, you have it, you rip it, it goes in a binder, you take it out every now and then, but there's no utility to it. Now you have this moment that you own, and there's all sorts of utility. Yeah. You can loan it, you can sell it, you can play games with it. All things that physical cards you can't do. So it's like physical cards on steroids. And when people realize that, it's like, like eat some queso and let's just rip some packs. Like that's it. Like,
hell yeah. But I was going on now. I was spending a lot of time on these things. I was going on to Canva, taking the set art, making all this.
You also grew up with 8 tracks, so it's a little different.
I figured some of this tech stuff out. But just there's like you're saying though, Brett, a real simple way to create something that then just can be streamed on your TV. Yeah. That's got a little more, it's got a little more, maybe an intro and an outro built in, and you just you can roll with it. So anyway, that was my jam, creating stuff I could play on my TV for my friends and in my office and at the house.
I love it. I think let me talk to the team when everyone's back. That one might be a quick win actually, because all it is, it's set up the asset pipeline, create a couple templates, and let people play with it. Could even be like a third party. I remember in the early days, Moment Nerd made this sort of Twitter profile generator. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it's sort of it can live as a separate applet, and we can just kind of like link to it.
Yeah, it sounds super easy. We should totally do it.
That one in particular actually does sound pretty easy. So as opposed to some of the other ideas, around like we've got a prototype going of like click and drag collection organization. It's been particularly important to me that we replace the renders in the product with an interactive moment, the way we have in Disney Pinnacle, right, where you can the pin you see is like it's your pin. It's rendered directly for you, and if in the future you have an autograph on it or it has your serial number, et cetera, that's your actual render versus the Top Shot. You're sort of looking at the addition. Everyone's looking at the same outputs, right, the same images, right. And then your metadata is on the side. So but your actual moment exists somewhere. So how can we replace that, the render in the app and on the web app with your actual? So we're working on like the bigger lifts like that. But to your point, most people are going to look at their stuff more frequently on those other places, whether that's social media or their phone home screen, and those things have to kind of be static. So we can, but creating static or sort of templatized outputs is actually pretty straightforward. So let me take that as homework.
Sweet. Love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
He won't stop smiling for 6 months now. So it's like Celtics won the championship all over again.
Hey, it's a good time. It's good to be the champion.
Oh, live it up. Go Maps. Did
you get those commemorative tickets they sent out after the physical commemorative tickets they sent out?
No, I didn't get those. I think Colton has those, and Boston Base had those.
Yeah,
those are really cool. Yeah, they did. That was impressive.
Celtics community is pretty tight in Top Shot, man. I got a lot of respect for those guys. Pretty nice guys too, for the most part, except for you, Trudicus. but hey, one thing that you did get invited to the Larry Bird hangout, didn't you?
Oh man, bucket list experience. What a great guy! Just down to earth, very kind. That was amazing, and I've watched in person, and I just love the NBA, right? So I've watched so many of these great players in person, and I never would have had a chance ever if it wasn't for NBA Top Shot. But I've seen so many great players in person, just fanboying out like in awe of how well these guys play basketball. Would never had those experiences without Top Shot.
Well, it's so great, y'all. I mean, not just Larry Bird too, but like Miles Turner, Jamal Crawford. Like, I love the fact you're doing virtual meet and greets and then in person meet and greets. Like, I was so upset and happy for Treat. The fact I was like, man, if I can kick his leg and he falls down, maybe I can get on. He'll think I'm him and I can see Larry Bird. Like, that's epic, dude. Like, these are.
Well, and the community made it happen. Community members were nice enough to give me their spot, right? And folks made that happen. So it makes it even more special that they thought of me to have that opportunity. Because I'm not burning any Larry Bird moments to meet Larry Bird. Maybe that tells you my priority. I'm not burning moments to meet the guy.
That's yeah. That's
they're too valuable.
The worst thing y'all did was allow people to burn locked moments, because then I had no excuse to not be a part of the burn leaderboard, because I lock everything. So I'm like, oh, sorry, it's locked. I can't. I wish it's locked. But now I'm like, oh, I'm not going to. I'm blocking it. It's staying there. So he got to meet Larry Bird. I know Tork and I one day will meet someone that we really want to meet. Is there, if you were there and you were going to get to meet someone, who would you want to meet? Who's like a player that you're like, man, sign me up. Let's go. I'm burning some moments.
Well, I mean, look, I mean, for one thing, I'm not sure how much I should disagree with our own decisions, but I don't love the idea of a collector having to burn things that they're a fan of in order to get something that like recognizes their fandom. That makes less sense to me. Sure. I think you're the locking on the leaderboards, and then you're sort of the top Larry Bird fan, and so that's why you get that experience to sort of recognize your fandom. Or, I mean, it's going to be tough to do it for all the players all the time, but if you're top Larry Bird fan, you're probably a top Celtics fan, and you can be sure that the Celtics team wants to know who you are. If you're anywhere close to the top 50 or top 100 on those leaderboards, you're a big enough fish, big enough fan where, they want to know who you are. They want to recognize your fandom. They're going to try to sell you stuff for sure, right? But that's part of the, that's part of how the game is played, right? If you're a VIP to them, which I think everyone that is sort of like, again, anywhere close to the top on those leaderboards are. And even if you're not in the top, you're like, hey, I'm a top 1,000, top 10,000 sort of Celtics fan. I still think that's cool. And we haven't done everything we can do to kind of connect those dots. But
I'm 30, by the way. 30 is what I'm number 30 on the leaderboard. I should probably try to stick at 33. Anyway, sorry. Keep going. I love where you're going with this. Connect those dots.
I was just going to answer the question, which is the thing I had that gave me the most FOMO that we did in Top Shot, and I can't believe I couldn't make it, was the Magic Johnson event, where the folks went to his house and he's sitting there pitching Top Shot better than I do. And I was just, it was such a cool moment. I actually got to meet him at a Andreessen event. He was meeting with Ben Horowitz, and I went to say hi, and he remembered everybody, and he's like, yeah, Top Shot. He was so excited about it.
That's so cool.
He's such a good ambassador. And so that gave me FOMO. We might have to do that again, just so I can attend.
I think that's a great idea. I got a shot.
And otherwise, but
I feel like that's a lot of players' reaction though to Top Shot, as they see it and they get excited. Like I know I've seen Miles Turner recently, Mo Wagner, Franz Wagner tweeting about it as well. They seem to be genuinely excited about the product, and why not? I mean, like it's a good way for, I think, them to identify their top fans as well, and then perhaps reach out to them and form that sort of community. So that's one of the most unique things about Top Shot. I mean, we will we all have met each other otherwise and made this amazing, little community and sub communities after the fact? Probably not, but that's what makes us amazing. So best part about it to me.
And I hope that, and I know the summer league is kind of this way, but man, I'd love to see, some Top Shot collectors convention kind of, where we all get to hang out and talk, because we all know each other and like each other for the most part. And it's for me, it's the beauty of just talking hoops, man.
Mm-hmm.
I've got this group of friends from all over the world, like literally are my friends. And we were brought together by collecting Top Shot and being able to talk about the game. So in my mind, maybe summer league. That's just needs to be the goal for me. I got to get to summer league.
It's been like the de facto Top Shot collectors convention, I think, but just not official. But the other thing I want to point out amongst all the comments from the peanut gallery and whatnot is we all want the same thing from this. Like we all want this thing to do really well. We all want everybody to have fun. We all want to enjoy our collecting. I'm definitely enjoying it. And if you're not, I don't know what your problem is. But anyway, that being said, I think it's important to keep that in mind, and that there are bigger things at work here, guys, and we're going to be okay.
And it's a hobby. It's a hobby. It's a fun freaking hobby. Just remember.
Yeah, look, I 100% agree with the in-persons. We will be at Summer League. And what I want is that every one of these NBA tent poles, like there's so many of the Top Shot community that just go independent of Top Shot. Sometimes we go as a crew. But how do we share information better and say like, hey, this is all the people that are going, this is like they're, either we go to dinner before or we go to drinks after, or like basically do what we did in Vegas. But, and, a few other folks came as well. There's, a few of the NFT kind of crowd who are into Top Shot. I said, hey, I'm having dinner with the collectors, stop on by, and Andrew and a couple other people did. So how do we kind of like bring these, how do we make that more of a plan, right? And I think it's pretty straightforward. I mean, I'll say I'll be at All-Star weekend, and so I don't know if we're doing anything official, but I know we're potentially sending some folks to the Paris games. I might be around there. So that's one commitment I'll make to you guys is, let's try to kind of, the community's already there, right? And in a lot of ways, there's folks that are also willing to lean in. And Coulton flew to Vegas to coordinate all of this as say, hey, I just want to help. So how do we kind of like double down on the community and make sure that to create the service area for something we all love doing?
Well, we'd love to help. Like that literally it's in our name, Collectin and Connectin. Seriously, we'd love to help you figure that piece out, that social connection piece. We got a lot of smart folks that really love the product. So I don't know even what that means, but yeah, we're in. We'd love to help.
Things are always more fun when you're not alone. That's for sure.
That's
almost everything.
No,
it still takes.
We almost made it the whole episode. Almost made it. We're so close.
I'm just glad you didn't bring up Julius
Randle. We almost made it an entire episode.
We tried. We've been doing really good.
You did great, Brett. You did great.
I mean, I've only said queso one time, now twice.
I love it.
Yeah. No,
have you ever been to Texas? You've been down here before, right?
Is there a question for me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I was just in Austin last Monday.
What?
Oh yeah, I forgot to call you back. My bad.
I was just there for a day. It was a work trip in and out, but I've been I've only been to Austin in Texas, and I've only been there twice. So, but I'll be there again for at the very least for the consensus conference happens every summer. So if you guys are there, let's make something happen. I haven't actually ever done South by. That's a good.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Just the tech part. I mean, like it's fun to wander around, but no, I mean, like it's not really different from consensus if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, I came for consensus last year. So if I speak, I'll roll through, and if I'm rolling through, let's do something.
Heck yeah, man.
I hear wild boar shooting is the thing to do.
Well, we can get you set up with that if you really want to do that, for sure. Because Austin, there's a lot of you just drive about an hour out in the country. There's, plenty of ranches, plenty of that to do, plenty of queso to eat, plenty of barbecue, plenty of Tex-Mex. We can go to the UT game. I mean, it's in the suite. We'll do it up big. Seriously.
Let's start with the barbecue and see where it goes.
I have 9 places. I already have the itinerary picked. It's a whole day. I got you.
Probably another Texas team making it to the championship and losing. I'm predicting that.
Oh, geez. Just crushing dreams.
We can talk his shit. That's okay.
You and 3-ball, just bleep that out. It's okay. Man. I can't believe that almost an hour's gone by. I feel like there's still so many things. Like, man, it's just so good to hear, coming from you, just the fun and exciting things that are coming to Top Shot, the direction that we're continuing to go in a positive, great way. There's so much good happening. And I think sometimes people don't focus on the good. They focus on just what they want right now and me. But man, from where we started when I was in a pack drop, hoping to get in of like the 50,000 people, and I was standing in the road while I was hunting with 3-ball, like holding our cell phones to get in this pack drop. Like now, like things have progressed so much faster, so much streamlined. The product's gotten so much better. And at the end of the day, like you're one of the guys we have to thank for that. You get all the bad, but you should also get some of the good too. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Collectin and Connectin's aspect, we appreciate you. We value you. We thank you for all the stuff you're doing behind the scenes, whether it's legislation, whether it's new product, new ideas, new everything. We're just very grateful for sure.
No, I'm grateful to you guys. You're the reason we do this every day. And at the end of the day, I welcome feedback, no matter how it is. Like I said, I celebrate the fact that people are passionate about this product. I know we've done a lot of good stuff. We've made a lot of mistakes, and we're always learning. And whether the haters want to hear this or not, I'm not going anywhere, and I'm fully dedicated to make this product as awesome it can be. And I think we're close in the sense of like, we know what we got to do. We just got to put our nose to the grindstone, do it, connect with the community, and make Top Shot great again.
Dude, we're glad you're not going anywhere. You got a good crew there. Jacob, Luke, Hope, that whole crew, we're big fans.
Yeah, everyone's very passionate. It's almost the problem has been that there's even internally super smart people. If they're pulling in slightly different directions, the thing gets stuck. And from the outside, it looks like, hey, it's not moving. The reality is it's sort of there's a lot of background movement. So that's the main thing I've sort of stepped in to ameliorate, and hopefully just even the last 3-4 weeks, I think you've seen some issues that we're starting to address and starting to fix, commitments that we're going to be clear on, and in a sense sort of simplify life even internally and say, hey, we're always going to do things this way, and so there's no more discussion about it. Let's just be transparent to everybody. This is how the system works, internally, externally, and let's focus on the what matters, making the product more fun, making the product more delightful, reaching new fans, telling bigger stories, telling the stories better, instead of like rehashing a lot of the same decisions around, hey, what should the reward be for this and that. Right. And so sort of like just that stuff. Let's kind of put on put in explicit systems that everybody can understand, because guess what? Like that also is going to be a better value proposition for the new collector. So they're like, right. They come in and they understand, okay, I saw this Magic Johnson thing. How can I get that? Or hey, I saw collectors are going to this thing. How does this all work? And there's a clear sort of like rule set to what to do, how to Top Shot on a day-to-day basis. Hey, the sets, the airdrops, all of this stuff. Now we can say, hey, lock your sets by this date and you're going to get the airdrop. And so that creates a very understandable story, also hypes the drop that's coming. The drop comes, their lock-in challenge starts right then. So it's like, it's a critical mass moment. Again, simpler story rather than, hey, should we do the challenge this week? Is there enough moments out there? Like, just don't sort of get locked in those decisions, which are, again, coming from a good place, but I think end up making the experience more complicated on the inside and on the outside. So that's
I like that a lot.
I think we're feeling better about that.
I feel you, man. I got public works. I got public safety. We got the school district. It's just people pulling from all directions. But you care about one thing, man. It's quality of life.
That's
Quality of life. I love that.
Yeah.
How I love you. You said something there. I think we can figure out how to do something with this, guys. How do I top shot?
How
Right?
to top shot.
How do I top shot? How do I top shot? How do you top shot? That's a great question. I think we need to
100%.
run with that. I like
There's
that.
no wrong answer.
There's no wrong answer.
Yeah, it's relative to the person.
I think we need a song though. How do we top shot?
We do need a song, Treat. We do.
I'm just saying.
I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm on it. All right. I'll have it done by New Year's. How do I top shot?
Perfect.
I love it.
Amazing.
Guys, we're gonna wrap up out of respect for everyone's time. But one of the things, especially around the holidays, we like to do is, yes, we are gonna save you for last, but we're gonna go say something you're grateful for. Let's start with you, Tork.
Grateful. Man, I got my family in town for the holidays. Very, very blessed. Been through a few things the last few years. Happy to have my health. Very, very happy to have the community. Y'all support like Treat, Brett, Three Ball, everybody like those. Like it's weird how they're like brothers at this point. I seriously mean that. So that kind of support is hard to come by. And strangely enough, Top Shot brought us together, as strange as that may sound. So very, very thankful for that. And yeah, man, just happy to be here with this strapping gentleman and his lovely beard that maybe someday after like 7 years I might be able to get close someday. But aspirations and goals, right, boys?
Yeah, that's right.
I love it. Thank you for sharing. Tork, Treat.
Hey, man, I'm grateful to be the mayor of my hometown. I love it. This time last year, I was in the middle of a campaign, and man, it's just I feel like I'm living the dream every day. I live 3 blocks from City Hall, and most days I walk down there, and these are the streets I rode my bike on when I was a kid. And so just being able to serve, and nobody from Bryant's going to watch this, so this isn't a paid ad. It's true, man. I just truly love it, and I'm very grateful for that.
Dude, I love that. And what is it? 320 South. I've listened to a couple episodes talking about Arkansas. I loved it, man.
Yeah.
The passion shows. And one of the things I'm grateful for is each of y'all. Just my silly friend Three Ball told me about this silly thing called Top Shot, and we've done over 100 episodes collectively as TNC with Moment to Moment and Moment by Moment and the Treats original stuff. And man, the fact that I have friends all over this world that I've been able to win tickets and go to games and been able to meet players and have Shaq follow me into the bathroom. That would have happened without Top Shot. So I'm grateful for Top Shot and grateful for my friends and family for sure. My beautiful new wife, I promised her I would say I'm grateful for her too, which I am.
Yeah, it should be.
Find Top Shot moments. So yeah, so just very grateful. Grateful for all you watching, listening, tuning into this as well. Last but not least, Roham, what are you grateful for, man?
Well, I'm grateful. I think you got to be grateful as a state of mind, but I would say first and foremost, health, right? If there's no health, nothing else can follow. Yeah. Friends and family, that support system is important. And then you guys, like I said, give me purpose. And we do what we do to make the community happy, to create something that hasn't existed before, and you're the ones that are giving me the sort of platform to do that. And so very grateful for the trust and the support and the positive attitude, as well as all of the feedback and areas of improvement. So I'll take it all. And by the way, Treat, would love to hear more about your mayoral experience at some point. This is
anytime, man. Anytime. Yeah. I got plenty to tell.
I can imagine. So,
man, so
thank
great
you for having me. It's been a lot of fun, and I can't believe it took 81 episodes to get me on your show.
Yeah.
We've been a little nervous. Like right now, my boobs are sweating, my arms are sweating. Like, it's taken us this long just to even be able to talk to you. I mean, you're looking at a beautiful beard, a smart guy. The man.
Not everybody gets the boob sweat.
I'm literally getting off this. I'm going to go eat a bunch of queso and just hyperventilating. It's like, oh my gosh, super fanboy.
Love it.
Dude, appreciate all of you. Episode 81, Collectin and Connectin. Check it out. Subscribe. Go buy some moments. Go gift some moments. Tell your friends and family. But thanks for joining us today. We appreciate all of you. So peace out, everyone.
Queso!
Tune in every Tuesday for a new episode of the Collectin and Connectin pod. And if you want to rock some merch, check out our store at Shop Collectin and Connectin in the bio on this video. Thank you all for watching. See you next Tuesday.